Guys, Intel just reported and they crushed it and they're up over 7%. Oh, now, yeah, 7% after hours. They crushed it. Revenue came in higher than expected, big time higher than expected. Profit came in almost double, 41 cents versus 21 cents. And I believe it was 14.2 billion. 14.2 billion versus 13 and change that they're going to report. Guys, I have a position in Intel. Doesn't mean you go buy it, but I want to show you the power of dollar cost averaging when a stock goes down. I was selling puts on Intel in the mid to high 40 range, and I kept buying shares as it went down. When it got down to 25, I was still buying shares. Because of doing that, I'm now in the positive on my Intel shares. But I want everybody to know that doesn't mean I'm right. I have a long-term bet on Intel. I think Intel is a 2 or 3 year long turnaround play, and I do think I'm going to make good money on it, but it's going to take a while. Don't you think, Mo?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're spending
turnaround plays take a long time, especially one like this.
This is probably my riskiest play, because if they're not right on this turnaround, it's going to be costly because they've spent $60 billion on 3 factories, Arizona, Ohio, and Germany.
If they're not right, I could literally see them just being acquired or going under.
I don't know about going under because I think their balance sheet's fine. I think they still have a great brand name. Like, you don't look at Intel and think crap.
No.
You look at Intel and say, okay, it's still quality, or NVIDIA. Is AMD. I know. It is a big bet.
But they seem confident in it. I mean, I don't know if that means anything.
Hey, everybody feels confident in what they're saying.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that so Dalton, our in-house analyst, doesn't like the foundry business. I like the fact that people still go to them to build chips.
Yeah.
I like that it's their go-to. To me, that's why I don't think they're going to go under.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's going to be a lot of incentives by the U.S. government to make sure that Intel is still building chips in the U.S. at these 2 factories, one of which is only an hour and 20 minutes down the road from us.
One interesting thing Charlie Munger said about that, and somebody asked him, I don't know if it was at their annual meeting or whatever, but he said that money is not guaranteed. And that's one thing that he's actually worried about.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Like, there's nothing that was guaranteed from that CHIPS Act. He's like, they said they were going to give it to him, but it was nothing in writing. And that was a point that he made.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Why don't you go over a few things in their actual press release so we can see?
So revenue, as Paul said, $14.2 billion, down 8% year over year. Let's get into some other numbers here. Here's some comparisons. And you can see over the third quarter of 2022. Down 8%. They did $15.3 billion in revenue. Now, gross margins came in slightly down, 0.1%. Not really a big deal. Research and development also down 14%. I don't know exactly what that means. R&D down.
R&D's down.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, they spend less money on R&D.
Yeah,
which is a big part of what they're spending on.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into some areas of revenue. So they did $7.9 billion from client computing. That was down 3% over the last year. Data center and AI down 10% at $3.8 billion. Oh God Almighty, they were down on AI. This is bad.
I can't believe they're down. Oh man,
nobody read that.
Look at Intel Foundry Services up 300%, but it's $300 million.
It's funny. And look at Mobileye up 18%, $530 million. But
like, that's the thing. This is part of the turnaround. Like if Mobileye and the foundries are part of their future plan, and they're able to really grab hold of that thing.
Exactly. If this number moves up here on top of the 7.9, it's
GG.
Exactly.
And by the way, I'm not as worried. Everybody's reporting lower revenue in the chip business. NVIDIA is, AMD is. Everybody's reporting lower revenue.
I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I think that's expected based on where it went during COVID.
Parabolic rise.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like, I see the prices pulling back. I'm like, okay, they're just coming back to normal.
I mean, if you look at it, remember cars. Cars were relying on these chips that they weren't getting, and that's why car prices were skyrocketing because they couldn't get chips to manufacture cars.
Right.
So guys, remember, don't ever follow anything we're doing. If you don't understand this play, don't do it. We have a huge community, thousands and thousands of people in this thing, and guess what? They don't all agree with me. A lot of them are like, "You're an idiot, Paul. Intel's not a good." Great, more power to them. They don't say I'm an idiot. But
I had Intel until a couple of months ago. And I got to break even price. Well, I made money selling puts and stuff and the dividend, but I was like, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable with this turnaround anymore. And I exited.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm much more of I'm going to buy something and stick with it, because I don't want to get in and out of the investing. Mm-hmm. You know, unless there's a major change in my fundamental beliefs, like Walgreens, I was just like, okay, this is the fundamental change in the fundamentals of the business. I just couldn't deal with that.
So from the time we started buying Intel to them going into the foundry business, like really going all at it, I did feel like the thesis changed a little bit.
Maybe you're right.
And that's what that was. My
If it
reason.
wasn't for the fact that the rest of the chip industry was falling with it,
Yeah.
that would have been a big difference for me.
Big red flag.
Yeah, but I'm like the fact the revenue was still down year over year,
Mhm.
but not down as much.
Yeah.
And there are some glimmers of hope. But again, guys, it's a long-term turnaround play.
Absolutely.
It's a long-term turnaround play. I hope I end up right, but even a great investor will only be right 50% of the time at best, 60% maybe. So it's all about letting your real smart investments compound on each other. Now, let's take a look at Amazon, who also just reported, and they crushed 93 cents per share in profit versus 60 cents per share, and 143.1 billion in revenue versus an expected 141 and 141.5 billion. So they beat on both. Mo, why don't you go over some of the things that they talked about in their press release?
So net sales increased 13% to 143 billion in the third quarter. That's comparing it to 127 billion in the third quarter of 2022.
And by the way, Amazon's now only up 2.8% after hours.
Here's the one we were talking about earlier. Amazon Web Service segment sales increased 12% to 23.1 billion. That's pretty good growth. You think it's
That's lower than Google's growth
That's what
was.
I'm thinking. I look at it and I go, it's good, but it's not where.
But they're bigger than Google.
They're bigger.
They're bigger, but
they are the leader.
yeah.
Let's see here. Operating income is 4.3 billion compared with a loss of 400 million in the third quarter of 2022. Let's see if we can get into some more numbers about getting into the obsession. Sold hundreds of millions of items worldwide on Amazon Prime Day. 19 countries, saved people more than $1 billion, yada, yada. Let's see.
I think this will be a good one to sit there and
Here we go.
put in our stock analyzer tool to figure out what it's worth. So we're going to get into that shortly.
An interesting one. Attracted 15.1 million for Thursday night football.
See, I
season
think
opener.
Thursday Fight Football was a smart move on their part
is-
to get the rights to that.
That's- to get 50. I don't know if they might have had 15.1 million watch Amazon Prime all last year.
It's the number. we don't like Amazon Prime for video stuff, but they had
Were they like second?
yeah, they're like
They're
second
above
in
Hulu or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we use Hulu all the time. I use
That's
Hulu.
funny.
I think you use YouTube
I
TV.
use YouTube TV. Yeah.
All right, so let's check out a few basics on Amazon. 8 pillars real quick. A lot of X's here, guys. It's just expensive, expensive, expensive. 200 times free cash flow, 77 times earnings. I know all you Amazon bulls out there will say it doesn't really factor in properly their reinvestment. I get that. I love the fact they're reinvesting, but they're going to have $600 billion in revenue this year.
Yeah.
Let's see what analysts think they're going to do this year in revenue.
That's a great point.
581 billion in revenue this year. At some point, and look at the revenue growth. They have revenue growth huge,
huge growth.
11% a year.
Yeah.
That's big numbers. But look at people are going to say that's not really their numbers. I know, I get it, but at some point, 2.5% bottom line, 4% bottom line in the last 5 years. Let's look at their cash flow. Now, their cash flow, they have greatly increased their capital expenditures. They really invest a ton. They did $4 billion a year in 2014. They're now doing over $4 billion a month now, $58 billion in the last 12 months, $65 billion in the previous 12 months. I mean, they are really all about, let's get everybody in here. Let's get everybody to be an Amazon Prime member, paying their $129 a year. And guys, guess what?
Is that what it is now?
Yeah.
Wow.
And guess what? The other day, I had to order. So Lizzie, my smallest dog, she's like this big. She's lost some weight. She's freaking adorable. She got underneath. So we have a fence in the backyard, and then we put mesh fence. And I'm not going to name who. I'm not going to name the person who installed the mesh fence, but I told them to go lower. They said, "No, you don't want to do that." They didn't go as low as I wanted. Lizzie got out twice now.
Oh, no.
DoorDash driver is the one that caught her last time.
Wow.
So immediately, I ordered one of those. You screw in the ground.
Yeah.
You know, so the leash for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll get this by the morning, by 4 a.m. The best option was 5 p.m. How bratty am I now that I'm upset that I ordered it 9:30 at night. So sorry, 7:40 at night. I had to wait till 5 o'clock the next day because Hollywood Feed, the dog store down the street from me, was not open. They closed at 7:30, and they only had a 15-foot
I
leash.
would have gone to PetSmart for you. Plus, I have one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
How long is the leash though?
I don't know, 25 yards or something like that.
Yards? You have a 75-foot long leash on your
I
thing?
want Teddy to be able to go wherever he can go.
All right, listen.
Because we got the dictator Nicole. Teddy can't go 2 feet away from her. for me, I'm like, you be
Listen,
free,
I
boy.
wanted 30
Be
feet.
free.
I wanted 30 feet. Hollywood feet only had 15 feet, so I was fine waiting for it. But I had to walk Lizzie out. And luckily, the weather here was good in Ohio the last few days. It was 70 degrees, so I walked out with her. But anyhow, the bottom line is that's how spoiled we are by Amazon. You know, we have a good friend of ours in Rochester, Minnesota. And that's not a big enough city. He doesn't get overnight delivery. He doesn't get same-day delivery. He has to wait 2 days. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. So anyhow, Amazon's the best. Amazon's awesome. I love the company. I love buying from them. I love doing that stuff. But let's go see what the company is worth to us. Mo, when was the last time you did Amazon, your stock analyzer
August
tool?
3rd.
Mine was October 17th.
Okay.
All right, so guys, first line, revenue growth. Mo, what'd you do?
579.
I did 6, 10, and 14. And by the way, before I get further, guys, I talked about this community. I talked about it. While Mo was talking about Intel and Amazon, I was in the community chatting with people about Intel and Amazon's results. I really want you to join, but I'm not asking you to make that yes or no purchase today. What I'm asking you to do is I want you to make an informed decision by getting into the software. That's the only way to do it. Get in the community, talk to people, have a conversation, use all the tools up here. Use all of these. These are all available, 7-day full free access trial, just like test driving a car. You want to take it out for a spin. The difference is the dealership will only give you 15 minutes. I'm giving you 7 full free days. Go to everythingmoney.com, check it out, sign up for our free trial. You will not regret it. Okay, so I did 6, 10, and 14 on the revenue growth. And Mo, you did 4, 7,
And 9.
9. Okay, profit margin.
I'm going to do 2, 5, and 8.
I did 4, 7, and 10. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, 10 years from now, over the next 10 years, maybe they'll do that.
Okay.
4, 7, and 10 on free cash flow as well, even though free cash flow is lower than their profit.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to say they're going to balance out
yes,
as they become
because
more of a
they just greatly
mature
increased.
company.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
When are you going to mature? I'm 74 years old. I mean, it's a $580 billion company in revenue. All right. Now, what's the PE you're going to assign to the company at the end of 10 years?
So I did 17, 20, and 23.
I did 17, 21, and 25, just because of the everything company.
And I do think that with the growth numbers you put in there and the margins, yeah, I agree.
Final metric, desired annual return. Guys, this is your margin of safety. What return do you want on Amazon in order to buy it? The lower your assumptions, the lower your return should be. The higher assumptions, the higher return should be. So I did 11, 13, and 15.
I did the same thing.
Now, the reason being, guys, is I do still think this is going to be hard. This 7% profit margin is still going to be hard. Revenue growth of 10% is still going to be hard. So I hit the analyze button. Boom. I have a low price of 37, high price of 160, middle price of 86. If you paid 120, which is today's price, you're going to make negative 3.5%. If you buy the lowest, if the lowest assumptions occur, 8.7 in the middle, 19% of the high. What about you, Mo?
It's 17 on the low, 85 on the high, and 47 in the middle. Watch list price $75.
I have it on my watch list, 75. It'll notify me. I'll do more research. Guys, everythingmoney.com, 7 days free trial. Go check it out.